It says you conceded 2 less goals than us last season, Tom, and you won the league. Our issue last season was our lack of clinical edge. We get our defense back to that same level. We will compete again.
That is wonderful baseline analysis, Don. Absolutely brilliant baseline analysis. Now, what you've got to remember about Liverpool is for the final 4 games of last season, Liverpool Football Club gave less than 0 fucks about them. We lost games and were partying on the pitch afterwards at away grounds. We conceded 9 goals in those 4 games.
Jesus.
Ooh, I didn't know it was 9.
We conceded I think we conceded something like 32 goals last season, and 9 of them came in 4 games when we didn't care. So if you take that away, it's now 23. And all of a sudden, it's 11 less than you. And we're then sitting there going, "Oh, that's a bit of a difference, isn't it?" And I wonder what the difference is in terms of like clean sheets. Because Liverpool had the most clean sheets in the Premier League last year. Our keeper didn't win Golden Glove because he got injured, so the backup had to step in for a point and kept clean sheets. But Liverpool, as a football club, had the most clean sheets in the Premier League last year. I'd like to say we're a couple ahead of Chelsea on that front. So again, that comes into it.
I get Chelsea fans, you guys defending.
Can I ask you a question? Do you not think, though, this win can galvanize them and they can go on a really good run? They're not far off the top. What is it, 4 or 5 points? Maybe less than that? Couldn't they go on a good run now, though, Chelsea? And, suddenly we're 10, 12, 15 games into the season. If they're only a handful of points at the top, Terry, what does that mean?
They won't. They're way too inconsistent as a side. Look at their first opening matches for an example, right? Crystal Palace draw at home. Then they got a really big win against West Ham. They got a win against Fulham. Then coming off of the break, their first win is in the cup, and then they managed to beat Liverpool after losing to Man United. Like, it's just way too inconsistent to build a title challenge off of. And it's not going to change now. It's going to continue to be that way. Like, they have big wins.
And the reason why, though, is because of the way they built their team. And the fact that, like, I hear what you're saying, totally agree, trying to be balanced, but they built an extremely young team, and this is what happens. This is what you see when you have a bunch of youth. Your captain is, I think Enzo's, 24? Or Reece James is the captain, my bad. I just forgot because he wasn't there a lot last year. But regardless, I think when you have such a young team, I need to see it. And listen, we that's one thing I always withhold the opportunity to change my opinion. But to say now, because you beat Liverpool, you are in it, like, not back in a challenging seat, like, you're just not there yet. You gotta string some wins together to be challengers. Like, I don't know, say we beat Liverpool and we're 2 points off. I will laugh. We'll be doing it. We'll be having fun with it. We'll be saying we're in the race. We're back in it. But
no, I get that. No,
Don, to give you an idea of where we all are, right? I wonder if there's a City fan on here, maybe in the chat, right? Who did you want to win this weekend, Liverpool or Chelsea? Like, I wanted Chelsea to win. If I thought that Chelsea was in the title race with us, I would be happy with the draw. But I wanted Chelsea to win. That tells you what I think about you.
I've got quite a hot take on this. Like, I've seen some Chelsea fans, again, sort of tweet this type of thing, and that's why we asked the question on the show. I still think they're going to go on a run. I felt all year. I was disappointed with their early performances, but I do think this Chelsea team is so much better than we've seen so far. Even with the injuries, I think it is so much better and will be better. They had a relatively slow start last year and then went on a fantastic run from around this time until sort of January. And the only reason they fell off,
that run was that was a very easy schedule.
Yeah, but I get where you're coming from. But I think they'll be. I think they're going to go on a run.
Schedule gets harder. Chelsea had the easiest schedule before they played Liverpool. They had the easiest schedule in the Premier League.
I think I have a hot take on that one. I think Chelsea they do better against better teams. I agree. I think against the easier teams, for some reason they slip up. I do think they're going to go on a run, but I think it's not going to lead to title charge. I think also, this Chelsea team is capable of winning 5-6 in a row. I don't think I'd be surprised to see that.
I don't think it is this season. I think last year the conditions were very idealistic for that Chelsea squad. They were only playing once a week, really, because they weren't having to wheel out for midweek games.
Are they going to crash out of the Champions League early anyway? It's like
I can't say what they'll do there, but I'm just going. They had Club World Cup in the summer, which I think is going to be a big drain on that squad at one point in the season. I think it'll hit them like a freight train. Just that fatigue and the fact you didn't have a real summer break, I think that'll hit at some point. combined with the fact that this year they're playing twice a week, maybe even sometimes 3 times a week because of the way fixtures are scheduled, whereas last year they were playing once a week because when it came round to Conference League, people who I've never seen the names of before were starting for Chelsea. So again, we're now at that point where the idealistic conditions from last year, which could enable players to stay at peak fitness and peak sort of mental shape and everything, that's not the case. Now we're really diving into the reserves, and I think that a lot of that's going to be tested this year, and we've seen it. And I just don't think that the situation Chelsea are in now is going to produce that level of run to push them into a title race.
Viewers, let us know what you think and feel. DJ here says that this Chelsea segment is weird. Did we just lose? Weird. He also says here, DJ, like clockwork, Chelsea win versus Liverpool despite having 8 injuries. But Terry asks a question that our haters will shit on us. Zero balance. Very funny.
DJ, you got me. You know what? A team with Robert Sanchez in goal, who made the most errors leading to goals out of any goalkeeper in the Premier League last year, they're going to win the Premier League. A team that, you know, I can't trust it. I don't know which centre-back pair they're going to use the entire season. And half of them get injured, the other half are improving. They are going to win the Premier League. You are right. They are going to win the Premier League this year. A team with one fit striker at the minute. Yes, 100%. You're going to. What am I on about? How can I suggest that a team that have finished second 3 years in a row, I have the second most points this period of time, are going to beat the mighty Chelsea because they beat us?
The thing, he also says here that what Chelsea fans have said, we're back. Well, you can go on socials and find them, and that is what we do. But you've got Don in here that's defending his team, saying when they get a few key players, like, watch us go. So you're acting like, for instance, there aren't Chelsea fans even in this chat that have a similar view. Now, Elijah is in the chat. We put some of his on the screen who's the opposite way. But it's about a conversation and a dialogue. And yes, we do take about United today, saying that we've gone backwards. About sacking Arne Slot, we take some interesting takes. Some see them as right, some see them as left. But at the end of the day, it's about creating a conversation, and we try and find some common ground in that, my friend. DJ, you've watched the Football Terrace long enough. And to say it's not balanced, by the way, when I've said something very different to what the boys have said, there's people in the comments. Remember, you, the audience, are as involved as we are. That's the point. Some agree and some disagree. It's about a conversation to see where the land lies. This here from, that does my dyslexia, and that does Francisek.
No, I'm dyslexia, and I ain't trying.
Fran. Yes, Fran. He said the Toronto Maple Leafs fan base is the most over the top. They are crazy. I've never seen anything like that, even though I'm an Arsenal fan.
It's insane. As a Canadian, I can speak to this, and a Torontonian. I've never seen a fan base so down bad. They haven't won since the 1950s or 60s, and it's like, bro, every year they're like the Dallas Cowboys, but worse. They're like every year they're just like, we're gonna do it, and then if anything happens at all, like they could be killing it. I'm talking like they could be fucking first in the league, and they have one setback, and
something happens. On fire. Do you know what's funny, right? What I find interesting about, I think when you're like an NFL, NHL baseball team, are they all in the same thing? They can't be relegated, and they get the worse you are, the better draft picks.
Right.
That's why, though, I understand the meltdowns more in American sports to UK sports. For instance, if you're Brighton and you've never won a trophy, but you are where you are in the league, even if you have a good start and then fall off, you're calm and you're relaxed. But I think if we close the Prem off and the current 20 team are the only 20 teams ever, but the lower down the table you finish, the better transfers you get to make. So, for instance, it would have meant last year Southampton get to sign Wirtz and Southampton get to sign Isak. If that happened and you were regularly signing top players or top players if it was the Prem, because you're always finishing low and then you didn't win anything for 70, 80 years, I would get the meltdowns would be another level, because it's such an even playing field in North American sports to a certain degree. Even I read this about about baseball, that the New York Yankees obviously sell more merchandise than anybody else all around the world. I mean, I've literally got, not in here, I thought I had, but I've got New York Yankees hats around my house. I didn't realize that every hat purchased, the money that goes back to the baseball teams is then equally spread across all the other baseball teams.
Didn't know that either. Why do the Yankees would take 100% profit?
No, I was listening. I don't know if it's the same for all sports, but I was listening to some financial
collective bargaining agreements across.
So essentially, it's to make. I think it's just to make it as their view is. It makes it as competitive as possible. Sharing. I view it the other way. I feel like if you're a team that has grown its brand and done so fantastically well. You should reap the rewards of that. I can't imagine Man United
That's
and
the
Liverpool
most anti-American thing I've ever heard in my life.
that's what I think about America. That's one thing about American sports. I find it the most opposite to their general view of the world.
It's like the TV deals, right?
Well, I think it's got to do with the fact that Fanatics has a monopoly over like the purchases. Like, for instance, you go onto NFL Shop, it's just owned by Fanatics. All the money goes to Fanatics rather than to your club.
But these are just to break it down, these are just like collective bargaining agreements that have revenue sharing built in to allow for parity. Like, you look at the NBA, there hasn't been a back-to-back winner for the last like 8 years, for instance, right? NFL, same thing. It's parity is really, really important for our sports, because when you think about it, we can't buy players. You can't just take your revenue and like get better. The only way you can get better is by like drafting and all that shit. So teams have to have, because what happens is, which I've always said, and I will stand by, and match going fans, when I come back to United, you can come for me. Match going fans are the worst thing that could happen to a team like Manchester United, because when we're bad, they still go. And that doesn't force the Glazers to do anything, because that is where most of your revenue actually comes from, is your match day sales and all that. Manchester United's a bit different because we're so big, but I'm telling you, when a team is bad in America, other than like some of the big ones like Dallas Cowboys or something, the stadium's empty. The stadium's empty.
Yeah. And it forces change.
They will they could actually go bust if there isn't revenue sharing, because they have to sell their tickets for way less. They have to adjust everything because they suck. But here, and I mean, in the UK, they don't have that.
People turn up regardless. I hear you.
So well, the Glazers own the Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers for years, like after they had that Super Bowl run in 22, for years the stadium was empty. They weren't achieving anything. All of a sudden, Tom Brady comes in. The Glazers are able to get him. Like, I think it's a similar timeline to when Cristiano Ronaldo came back to United as well. It was like the Glazers were in this mode of like, let's bring in the GOATs. Because I remember that Brady came to Old Trafford and shook hands with Ronaldo as well, right? And all the so the Glazers have a different sort of pressure when it comes to their other franchises than it does to Manchester United.
I hear that. DJ went 100% get the convo, but you asked the question to a panel of 4 haters. Why not ask it when a Chelsea fan is on the panel? Well, we put the invite out to the group chats that have probably a collective 10 to 12 Chelsea fans. And if they're not available, I'm not going to not talk about it because Chelsea fans didn't come on the show, because it's part of the agenda, my friend.
You know, they say that Arsenal fans are sensitive, you know?
We're all sensitive.
What I mean?
Stop.
You know what I mean?
But this is the thing that I can't get wrapped around me with Chelsea fans. It's been like this for like 4 months now. So they won the Club World Cup whenever they won it. They won the Club World Cup in July or whatever, and then it was, oh my God, we're the world champions. Now you got to put respect on our name. So then we sit there in the summer and go, well, he's in a title race. How can you say we're in a title race? You're just setting us up to failure. So then we go, okay, you're not in a title race. Why do you not respect us? Are you disrespecting my team? Are you disrespecting the world champ? I can't win. What do you want? When I say you should be in a title race, I'm told I'm trying to set you up to fail. When I say I don't think he's in a title race, it's I'm disrespecting you. What do you want? You can't have it both ways. You can't.
They do want to have it both ways.
I think some fans, but like I said earlier, I think some fans of all clubs like it. I think some like managers being sacked so they can start again. They have a shield. They like Man United fans are like that guy who doesn't like being in a long-term relationship because he enjoys the thrill of meeting the new person and getting to know them, meeting the family, like that early stages. I think Man United fans are in that space where we just like that phase because that's the most excited we feel generally, is that first 6 months. Joshua